What is up, everybody? Welcome into the TFA Week 7 Prop Talk. I am one of your co-hosts, Cody Kutzer. You can find me on Twitter at @CKutzerFF. You can find my guy, Tom Corson, on Twitter at DynastyInfidel. Got a fresh cut. We're turning a new leaf from last week. We're not talking about it. We're only bringing positive vibes, just positive vibes in this household. I'm switching everything up. I'm going to go first. We're not wasting any time. I'm just going to jump into this. I'm grabbing the bull by the horns, getting a good look at the T-bone by shoving my head up the bull's ass, as they say
Tommy. Okay, Tommy boy. I love it.
My man. I'm glad you got that. I didn't have to explain myself. All right, so I'm kicking things off. I'm going to go with Chris Carson over 60.5 rushing yards. Arizona has allowed the 9th most rushing yards by running backs this season, and they're giving up an average of 104 per game. And in games where Carson has gotten more than 8 carries, he's hit this mark every single week. There's only a 3.5-point spread, I believe, on this game as of right now, or at least that's where it's sitting right now. I'm not sure where it opened at. But I just don't see any way that Carson doesn't get there this week. So, Tom, what is your first one that you were bringing to the Week 7 TFA Prop Tack?
All right. So, last week I did take an ice bath. I'm done with it, okay? I cooled off a little bit.
You had the fever.
Yeah.
Had to get in the ice bath.
Right.
It makes sense. It makes sense.
We were. You know what? I'm on my way back up, okay? I'm going to get more cowbell, okay? I got a fever. All right, so I'm sticking with that same game. I'm going to go DK Metcalf over 68.5 yards. That is at minus 143 at DraftKings. At FanDuel, it's 73.5 yards at minus 110, so it's a better value at FanDuel, and I don't think the 5 yards really make that much of a difference. But DraftKings is running like a 10% profit boost on 7 bets this week, so you can get it down to minus 134, and you can do that for a couple other bets if you really want to. So DK's lowest yardage total so far this season, 92 yards. 92. And they're putting this at 68.5. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Arizona's right in the middle of the road when it comes to pass coverage. That's over at PFF. They rank 17th. They've given up 21 receptions over 20 yards, so that's pretty good. 3 of which went over 40, so they can be beat on big plays. Patrick Peterson, if he does shadow DK, it doesn't really concern me as much as it would have 4 or 5 years ago, obviously. Teams aren't shying away from him, like, at all. He's been targeted 33 times so far and given up 277 yards. So you know what? I think the over's way low in this game. I like the overs in pretty much everything this game. It's 54.5, so I think this is a shootout. I actually think the game probably goes over. I'm excited to see Kyler against Russ. I do think Carson is going to hit that as well because I think everybody's basically going to get it that game. So it's going to be fireworks, and I'm really excited that they flexed that to the night game so we can all watch it.
Yeah, man, we have, I think, 7 games with a total of 50 or higher this week, which just seems fucking bonkers. So there's a lot to like this week. The second one I'm going to talk about is Latavius Murray over 38.5 rushing yards. The Saints are touchdown favorites at home, and they're going to be without Michael Thomas and Manny Sanders. No slant boy, and Manny Sanders was placed on the COVID list. Murray has actually hit this in all but 2 games, and one was actually week 5 where he had 34, I believe. He's averaging over 10 carries per game, and the Panthers are allowing nearly 5 yards per carry on the season. So I think this is just going to be one of the games where, we're not going to see Breeze throw it 35-plus times. I think it's going to be a heavy run game for the Saints. So I really like that 38.5 mark for Latavius Murray.
I was not happy when I saw Michael Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders were both declared out because I had to start. I was starting Drew Brees this week, and I could have started Carson Wentz. So that hurt a little bit. I did it basically because I thought they were playing, and then, Friday hits and we're screwed. Anyway, moving on to this Sunday, I like Terry McLaurin over 78.5 yards at minus 112 over at DraftKings. Now, he's playing against Dallas. Dallas is not very good. And I know you
Hashtag analysis.
And I think, the 78.5 number might look a little bit big, but you know what? I really don't think it is. Kyle Allen came in last week, and he actually did better than Haskins did, I think. I think with another week, there'll be some more chemistry. That Dallas defense is the worst pass coverage in the league at PFF. They're in the middle of the road as far as like yards they've given up, but let's face it, it's because teams have also been able to run all over them. They give up 12.3 yards of reception. They're susceptible to big plays. I think you know that if you've watched any football this season. They've given up 24 plays over 20 yards and 5 over 40. I expect McLaurin to have at least one long reception, maybe over 40 yards. I think he's going to be a top 5 fantasy wide receiver this week. I know you have cautioned against me in this game because you think it's going to be a little bit more low scoring and sloppy, a little bit of a defensive battle. I think there's going to be big plays on both sides of the ball. What do you think? You think that low, or you think it's a little bit iffy?
Whenever you brought that up, you were talking about the total on the game. Like, it's just like, I think it was like 44.5, and like Dallas was getting 1 point. Like, it was just like one of those, just like I don't know how to feel about it from like that betting perspective. But Terry McLaurin, I mean, what was the number you said? 73.5?
78.5.
78.5. I think he's hit that in every game, but except like 2, I believe.
I think 2 or 3.
Yeah, and one of the games. Last week it was 74.
Right.
So like he almost got there that game anyway. That's just like one of those, like, that's one of those games that really wouldn't surprise me if it went either way. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if it was like a 17-14 game, and also wouldn't surprise me if it was like the third highest total on the week, because neither defense is really that strong outside of Washington's defensive line.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, just that line in that game is just, it's crazy to think it's week 7 and Dallas is getting a point against Washington. Dak or no Dak, it's still crazy. All right, speaking of weird things, let's go on to your third bet there, buddy.
All right, we were talking about this beforehand. We've done, 4 of these, 5 of these, I think.
Yeah. We
have yet to talk about any unders. So I'm actually going to go 2 here. I'm not going to parlay these, but I'm going 2. I don't care. Like I said, we're switching all around, flipping things up, going upside down. I'm going Drew Brees under 269.5 passing yards for all the reasons I mentioned with Latavius Murray. I think it's just going to be a run-heavy game. No Michael Thomas, no Manny Sanders. Like, if you're going to tell me that Drew Brees' main targets this game are going to be Traquan Smith, fucking Marquez Callaway, and Jared Cook, if he hits 270, like, I'll feel okay about that. Yeah. The second one is going to be Derek Carr under 273.5 passing yards. Going up against Tampa Bay, we saw what that defense just did to Aaron Rodgers. Now, I know Derek Carr has actually been pretty solid this year. I think he's completed like 73% of his passes. He's averaging, I think, close to like 290 yards per game. I think he only has 1 pick on the year. But this Tampa Bay defense might be the best in the league. They are top 3 in both rush and pass DVOA. They have PFF's 3rd pass rush grade. They're 1st in PFF's coverage grade. They're getting quarterback pressure at the 4th highest rate in the league. And to top it off, we have yet to see a full-blown Derek Carr meltdown game yet this season. We are due for one. I think this could be the week that we get it. Like, I really don't see how the Raiders are going to move the ball really at all going up against this defense. Their front is legit. Their linebackers are legit. There are 2 corners who were getting roasted last year or somehow almost locked down this year. Obviously, Adams was coming back, but they held him in check. They held Michael Thomas in check the first time they played them. So Derek Carr under, what did I say, 273.5. I'm going 2 unders. I don't care. Honey Badger don't give a shit. Haircut, feeling different, man. So why don't you hit us with your third one, and then we'll get out of here.
All right, so I'm going Devontae Adams over 83.5 yards. That's at -110. And I'm going to go receptions over 7.5. Okay. That is at plus 115. I love that. Okay.
Is that on DK or is that on FanDuel?
That's on DraftKings. If you go over to FanDuel, it's at 6.5 and it's at minus 163. I don't understand. So I'll take 7.5 at plus 115 all day. So it sounds like no Aaron Jones tomorrow. We know they're going to pass a lot, and Devontae Adams is finally healthy. Adams typically feasts on bad defenses, and Houston definitely qualifies as a bad defense. One other thing we know is Aaron Rodgers will just pepper Adams when he has a good matchup. He had 17 targets for 14 receptions and 156 yards in week 1 against the Vikings. Houston is a pinch better than the Vikings in coverage, maybe at times. They've given up the 9th most yards in the league and have the 9th worst coverage grade over at PFF. I think they've had 4 wide receivers go over like 78 yards or 81 yards, something like that. I expect Adams to have over 12 targets, 9 to 10 receptions. With that volume, he should get over 100 yards pretty easily. I feel confident enough. I took both bets. I maxed out the plus 10% boost there. It's a $50 bet, so I've got $100 on Adams. It should pay out pretty well. If I could parlay it, I definitely would. DraftKings doesn't let me do that. But I really like Devontae Adams this week to absolutely go bonkers.
Yeah, man. Of the 7 games, 7 that had the 50 or higher total in the week, this one is the highest at 57. The spread's only 3, and I think we get one of those just classic Aaron Rodgers fuck you games, especially after the performance of what they had against Tampa. So, like I said, man, we're switching it all up. You're getting back on track. I'm just hoping to hit 2 out of 3. Like,
yeah.
At least I've been steady. At least I've been steady.
You got the belt last week from me, so you know what? I'm here to take it back.
Hey, I was just glad it was even in my presence. That's going to do it for this week. Next week, we are going to attempt to go live, I believe, probably around like 8:45, 8:30, 8:45 on Saturday night. So be sure to keep your eyes peeled for that. Until next week, you can find me on Twitter at CKutzerFF. You can find Tom on Twitter at DynastyInfidel. Winning that money, getting haircuts, looking good, feeling good, playing good. Let's go.